Hello everyone. Going live right now. Um, Today is going to be so much fun. I'm going to talk to Cognizant Clay today, um, at Cognizant Clay. Cup Socks, what's up? How you doing? It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. We have no plan for how we're actually going to structure any of this, so it's going to be a good time. For those of you who are just joining, I'll say it all again. Me and Clay don't really have a plan. We're just going to wing it. We're going to talk. I expect some awesome comments from you guys and some questions, because me and Clay always have good conversation, but it's always great to hear from you guys. And I think that's one thing that I need to do more of is include your guys' comments. So please be ready for comments. Have some questions ready. Go ahead and throw them in there whenever we're talking. So let me see if I can grab Clay in here. Here we go. Whenever Clay gets on, we're doing this. Oh, stand by.
Why am I frozen?
I don't know. I can't see you. Headphones.
We'll give it a second, see if it figures itself out here. I don't know what's going on.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. I can't see my video. I don't know what's going on. Hang on a second here.
Okay. I can kick you out and make you come back in. Maybe I just have bad Wi-Fi, which wouldn't be surprising.
Try that. Let's try that. I'll leave right now. I'll hit the X and then bring me back in, see what happens.
Okay. All right. All right. So while we wait, let's talk. Man, I've got some good ideas for some videos coming up that are going to be pretty powerful. I just feel, especially today, I've felt really inspired to, just to grow and to get my message out and to do more for people. Really excited for all this. You there?
That's better.
There we go. I got you.
It works. Technical difficulties. You're already showing me up with your virtual background there.
I tried it and it doesn't. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Boom.
Well, that's awesome.
I think you can do that when you start the live. I don't know if you can do it when you come into the live.
Probably.
So something I'm trying.
It's finicky. Instagram is finicky, so.
It is. It is. How are you? Tell me about you. Tell me things. Tell me all the things.
Well, it's going well. Had a few interviews this past week. It was a little dull because my girlfriend was over. Haven't seen her in 3 months, so we were just hanging out. Did an interview with the guy. Anybody can judge me? Yeah, no, I hope not.
I don't think anybody's going to give you any hell for that.
And I interviewed Cabby Richards. He was a sportscaster here in Canada. He's moved down to Vegas. I interviewed him the other day. That was really cool. I've been a fan of his since I was a kid, so that was pretty neat. And I got one interview coming up on Friday. Other than that, it's been pretty quiet.
That's all right. That's all right. Have you done anything on TikTok?
Not yet. Hopefully this is the week. I gotta get on it. I gotta get on it because I'll get some followers from that for sure.
Absolutely. You need to. I'm telling you. When you do, make sure you allow duets so I can pump you up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down for that.
So, well, what do you want to talk about? We've got
whatever, really. I mean, how's it been going with you? I'm gonna throw that back at you. How have you been doing?
Oh my God. I mean, like, I passed 25K on TikTok, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, somewhere in there. It's been a blur, to be honest with you. It has just been I'm working obviously with the military, but like outside of that, like just the constant movement. The constant action of what I'm doing now with this message and building social media in terms of TikTok and Instagram's blowing up. Like I've gone from, I guess in the last month and a half, I've gone up about 400 followers on Instagram, which is not easy. Um,
No.
and I can honestly say like a lot of that's through TikTok, just siphoning people from TikTok onto Instagram because everybody typically has Instagram. Um, but my messages on both are kind of like similar but dissimilar at the same time. So it's, yeah, I mean, Dr. Jekyll just put a comment up. We need to have to keep Dylan out of TikTok jail. That's something interesting is that my live streams on TikTok got banned permanently because I was talking about my story, and within the TikTok community guidelines is stuff about suicide. But the problem was that I was falling within those community guidelines, but I don't think they have any kind of like updated system to deal with it. So it's been interesting. I've had to, it was my lives were an experience, and I think I really helped a lot of people with them. But it kind of came down to like, you know, TikTok has its way, and I've sent up emails. I'm gonna, I kind of consistently every week try and send them the same email, trying to get them to get me out of there. But realistically, I don't know if that's gonna ever happen. So we'll see.
Tik
I'm gonna keep
TikTok
going.
is intimidated, he just said.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's been insanity. I need to do more lives on Instagram, but I have done some lives with like Isaac. Isaac was an awesome session. Darren, uh, who's got like 60,000 followers on TikTok, was awesome. I mean, just an absolute incredible guy, and I tried to recommend him to you. So all three, like it's so amazing to talk to people that have been through so much adversity like you and I,
Yeah.
um, that we are all so very similar, right? Like we've been through so many different things. Like Darren's a black guy, right? And he's been through racism that I have not, right? And you've been through your own sort of, I guess, ableism that I have not. And yet we all have such a similar mindset. And that is just so, one, it's so interesting to me because that's what, I want to connect with that and see why people are becoming, like us, and how people are becoming like that, like us, so I can help people. Um, but it's just also incredible to see the growth that I've had on TikTok and connect with the people that are just looking for a message, right? They're looking for the strength that they don't feel they have. And all I do is I speak words to them and help them understand that they do have the strength, and they do have the energy, and they have everything that they need within them. And I'm just helping them unlock it. Like I'm saying the right words to them to help them elevate themselves to feel better about themselves. And it's just been insane. It's like it's been so crazy the last few weeks. The amount of the response that I've had, right? Like at this point, I'm getting like 200 to 500 followers a day, somewhere
Oh
in
wow.
there
That's
on
crazy.
TikTok. And then I also get, depending on how many videos I put out that day, I'm getting, 100 to 300 to 500 comments a day, and it's just, I'm baffled by it because 5 years, if someone had told me like you're gonna have 25,000 people following you on TikTok or a social media site, I'd be like, no, I don't want that. Like I'm not ready. But it's working, and it feels right, and it feels like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and I love it. I can't, I don't even know how else to explain it. I absolutely love it. So
Yeah, and I feel the same about mine. It's like, I wasn't ready 5 years ago either, but now it's like, I don't know. It's like a calling almost. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a lot of fun. And like I shared that picture last week on Instagram saying like I just want to show people how amazing disabled people can be because I think there's still a stigma that says that we're unable, and that's just not true. It's really not. Like
Right.
it just depends on how you do it, I think. And like you say, compassion, empathy, and kindness are really the only three things you need, at least
Right.
for a start. And then you learn as you go on. And I think I should get on TikTok because there's a lot of disabled people on there too that could see it. And I think it would be a good place to grow, if you will.
I am. Is it? Am I finally getting through to you, Clay? Like, is
I think
it?
so.
Thank you.
25,000. That's
Yep.
a
That
that's a big
that
number.
was that was the number you needed to see. You're like, once Dylan gets to 25K, like, yeah, I think I'll do it.
Yeah,
No, I
definitely.
actually. So I passed 25K, and I went to look at my analytics at one point and just kind of see what was going on. 'Cause it's always nice to see like some of the averages of how many people I'm getting and where my content's going, what's trending. Um, and it came up with like pro account, and so I've achieved two of the four, well, I should say three of the four requirements for a pro account. One, you have to be 18, so that one's pretty easy. Two, you have to post 3 videos within 28 days on TikTok. And then three, the one I've achieved is I've achieved 100,000 likes on videos within 28 days. And I think that's probably the hardest one. Um, but then the last one is get 100,000 followers. And I think at this point, with the momentum that I have, like I think I'm going to be able to do that. I think the 100,000 likes was the one that was going to be the hardest. But yeah, like once I get 100,000 likes, I'm going to be a pro TikToker, I guess. I don't know what that gives me. I don't know what that entails, but that's what I found out yesterday was that I'm I'm on my way to a pro account for TikTok, which is pretty cool.
Wow,
And,
that's interesting.
and I don't dance. So
It's definitely harder than Instagram to be verified. Instagram's verified rules are not very heavy. You can request it at any time and they can give you it. TikTok seems a little bit more official.
maybe I should do that.
Who knows?
Yeah, I should probably do that. Um, I'm thinking about it. There was a funny comment that I saw. I got to check. Hashtag get Clay on TikTok. That's perfect.
Now the pressure's there. Uh-oh.
Right, right.
Better do it now.
Get Clay on TikTok. Oh man. So what's other than getting on TikTok, what's on the agenda for you come in the next few days, few weeks, few months? What are you planning?
Well, over the next few weeks, I want to get some more interviews in the bank because it's been kind of dry. I've been doing it and then posting it the next day. Like I've been doing
Hmm.
them Mondays and Thursdays and posting them on my designated Tuesdays and Fridays. But
Yep.
I want to get more in the bank this week because I'm running dry a little bit.
Yep.
So I've been asking friends like, do you know anyone I can interview or anything? Because we have Sons of Dystrophy as well. That's my account with my buddy Joe and Brad, and we do
Yep.
collective. And it was
Sure.
a whole play on Sons of Anarchy. It was Joe's idea, which I think is phenomenal. Um,
Perfect.
so we've been doing posts. I post every Sunday. Brad is every Tuesday, and I think Joe is every Thursday or Friday. I can't recall, but
That's
that's been
cool.
taking off quite a bit too. We've got 170 followers already, which is pretty good because it's pretty new. Um, Monthly goals. Well, TikTok is definitely one of them. I do want to start posting more regularly because even my little slideshow that I did got 170 views in like 2 hours. It dried
Hmm.
out after the 170, but that's more views than I'm getting on Facebook or Instagram. So
Yep. And that's just one video, right?
Yeah.
Like, so here's an idea for you. Um, you have like such a powerful persona about you of like where you're going with this and everything. Once you get on TikTok, like you know what Gary would tell you, right? Like I'm gonna tell you something a little bit different. Like one, I would duet every single disabled person you can, like that fits your like that fits what you want to talk about, and give them like tell them you want to give them a platform to speak on, right? Like and go like one, follow them, like them, comment on the video, be like, hey, I want to interview you. Can you follow me, or like whatever you want to do, and duet them. And I like if you ever need help with this, I can help you learn how to duet things. I can show you exactly
Yeah.
on my phone how to do that stuff. Um, through like a Zoom session, we can talk about that. But duet them and make your own videos to get them to push them into your podcast and get them towards, help you get out your message through them as well. Like it's pretty easy to, you know, offer people like, hey, I want you to talk about yourself, like it's pretty simple. Um, but you're already on TikTok. All you got to do is you don't have to do it. Like if you're not comfortable yet, like I think you're getting there. But just straight out reach out to people and be like, hey, you're real popular on TikTok. Like, come at me, man. Like, get some more leverage here, and let's grow your fan base. All that. I think that would be mutually beneficial for both of you, right? Like, you don't have a huge following, they do, so you're just adding fuel to their fire, but you're also with the duets. It really helps pull some people sometimes. Not all the time, but like with the bigger ones, like if someone has like 50, 60, 70, 100,000 followers, like you're going to pull some people because they're going to look up that name and they're going to find your video. So yeah, and like we're low key duetting right now.
And she also said earlier, get Clay on TikTok again, this time in all caps. So now the
Yeah.
pressure's really on. It's my
Yeah.
TikTok, Cognizant Clay, just like here. All one
Yep.
word. Well, that's a little redundant to say all one word, but whatever.
Yeah, man, you're gonna blow up. I can't wait. Can't wait to
And
see it.
my dad said no dances. Yeah, I know, I know. I can
Well, I
chair
mean
dance.
that and see like that worked out for me. Like I had a video where I was like I had an Eagles hat on and I did like my name's Dylan, and there was a couple other things, but that video went to like 230,000 views,
Oh
and
my
all I was doing
God.
was this. I was like bam, bam, right? Like it's too easy. Like, just a little bit of dancing goes a long way. But yeah,
I am
definitely.
registered. Don't worry. I have an account. I just don't use it as much as I should.
He's got one video, so he's put a little bit of effort into it. Now he just has to put a lot more effort into it,
Well, and
and he'll
that's a
get
good thing
there.
to do when the weeks are dry. Like I can even cut
Yes.
1 minute clips from my interviews and put it on there. Like that's no problem.
Yep. And that's actually what I need to do more of is like when I actually download um like different videos because I can actually uh pull the footage that we have here. Um I need to cut that stuff up a lot better. That's what I need to do is I need to cut that stuff up, um, and put it on TikTok more and put it on Instagram more. I don't get time to. Not right now, at least. I need an editor. That's what I knew. I need.
Yeah, editing is a bitch. I hate to
It,
use that term, but it really is. It's
it's
a pain in the ass.
it is terrible.
I
Sure.
have an app called Filmora, and it's pretty easy. You just literally cut and paste, and it does it for you, which
Yeah.
is so much better.
Right. Yeah. I just don't have the time. Like outside of just making TikToks and doing my Instagram stuff and replying to, like, honestly, replying to comments is the hardest thing for me. I just have so
Yeah.
many people to reply to, that it's just like, I don't have time, right? Like I want to read, like for me, I want to read every comment. I don't want to edit. So I don't edit. I can just make.
Well,
Um,
and you also want to like you don't want to wait. You don't want to take 10 seconds to say just thank you or whatever. You want to actually read it
right,
and take a few minutes to respond. I find that's the best way to go.
right, right. Um, I already volunteered forever ago. Shut it down. When did I shoot it down? Like video editor, Jekyll. Do you do video editing? Um, Speaking of that, let's see if anybody has some questions. So for me or Clay or together, like whatever you have, go ahead and put a question in the comment. Like for some of you have been on my live sessions before. Like give us some real talk, some deep stuff to talk about. Um, be more genuine. I do all the things. Okay. Um, I have a question. Somebody has a question. Talk to me. Let's go. Now we're waiting
For
for
me,
Clay.
okay.
There you go, Clay. Oh, here we go. So yeah, I don't respond to every comment. I like every comment. I try to like every comment because that means I read them. Um, and that kind of sorts everything out for me because TikTok kind of has this. It's a good system where you can like literally every comment. But for me, I try and respond to the deeper questions, just because it's or the deeper comments, I guess. Like some people thank me for my service. I just like those. Like I'm not gonna say like it's my honor. Like for me, it's I don't need to respond to that. Like because
Right.
in person I wouldn't really respond to it anyway. I'd be like, of course, like I wouldn't say
There's a
anything.
there's a question
Yeah.
for me. What kind of interviews are just profile interviews about your disability, what charity work you do? I do a segment called Rapid Fire where I just ask random questions that are a little off topic. If you check my Instagram, you'll see my link tree. You can go to my YouTube and check them out if you want.
Here we go. Clay, what do you feel is the most gratifying experience you have encountered? Interesting.
Oh boy, most gratifying. That might take me a minute because there's a few small ones, but
That's a good question. Oh yeah, Clay, you should definitely, while you're thinking, you should definitely put Katie on a podcast.
for sure.
Let's be at BSU Woman 34. Katie, go ahead and message him to remind him.
Yeah, send me a message. Anybody who is interested, just DM me. I always respond. Most gratifying. Hmm.
That's a
Damn, that's
good
hard.
question. That's a
That is
really
a
good
good
question.
question. This is like my rapid fire question. My first one is
Yeah.
always whatever city or country, province, state, whatever you're from. I ask who's your favorite person, and everyone's always like, "Man, you're setting me up. All my friends are from here." Honestly, one of my most gratifying, like I'll think of a few because I don't have a specific one. One of them was grade six, believe it or not. My dad's yelling from the other room. Well, I'll say the grade six one first, and then I'll say his idea. Um, in grade six, we had the disabled track meets. So they had the normal track meets, and then they had the special needs ones, and there was categories like physically disabled and mentally disabled. They were separated,
Hmm.
and my goal was to get first place in every event I did, and I did it. But the thing that makes it gratifying is my teacher totally in front of the whole class. Like this teacher was kind of rude. Like it was one of those teachers that was a know-it-all And when I came back, I said, well, my goal at the beginning of the day was to place first in every event. And she literally looked at me in front of the whole class and went, oh, you didn't do that, did you? In that tone. And I was like, actually, yeah, I did. And I pulled out like the 6 first place ribbons. And she just looked at me like she saw a ghost. And that was a good one. And my dad said volunteer award. In high school, I volunteered at the YMCA after school program. And I won the award for the top volunteer that year. I think I did, well, you go 3 hours a day. I think I did 600 volunteer hours in one year.
Jeez.
And
Both of those, both
it
of those are
was
fucking
pretty cool.
awesome. That's incredible.
And if you want like a prideful one, which I do have a few because there's been some cool things happen, probably the PGA Championship 2013. It's a golf tournament if anybody doesn't know what the PGA is. But
I think we do.
we were there and I couldn't see, and the head club pro at Oak Oak Hill in Rochester came up to me and goes, "Can you see?" And dead honest, I just went, "Not really. Like there's like 10 people in my way." So he lifted the ropes, and my dad and I sat behind the ropes about 30 feet from the tee for the whole afternoon. That was pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. That's pretty cool. That's
Just like, come with
awesome.
me. Okay, cool. I got Tiger Woods gave me a ball and a glove. Henrik Stenson, Swedish golfer, came up and shook our hands, and it was on TV, him shaking my hand. And he's like, "Thanks for coming." And I think he gave me a glove signed. And then at the end of the tournament, we were behind the ropes when all the pros were walking off, and he saw me and took his hat off and gave me his hat.
Dude, that's awesome.
And one of his contractual obligations was he has to have the hat on to do an interview. And at the end of the season, the sponsor on the hat dropped him. And my dad and I think that maybe because he gave me the hat and didn't have one, they dropped him. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, shoot. Well, it happens. I
But yeah, there's a
think,
few gratifying encounters. I might think of a few as we're talking, but I don't know.
I mean, you got some good ones, man. I don't know if I think that was just your question, right? I did hang out with you. See me the hookup. Yeah. Yeah, Clay's got the hookup. He's the boss.
Scroll a little bit here. I think I
What other
unpaused.
questions do you guys have for us? Think of another good one like that. That was a damn good question. And I need to start doing live sessions with just me and just like pretty much the same thing that I was doing on TikTok live. I should do on Instagram live. I just forget about it.
Run the people over. I just saw that. I've done that. I've done that. Although
Dylan,
now that I have osteoporosis in all of my bones, I do not hit people. As if someone falls on me the wrong way, I am screwed.
should get some armor, some body armor, like some stormtrooper armor. That'd be pretty cool.
Like carbon fiber shields on my chair. That'd be pretty neat.
There you go. What is Dylan? What's your greatest accomplishment? Living. To be honest, I've done some awesome stuff, I think, but in the last 5 years, right? Like all of the stuff that I have done in the past 5 years would have been negated had I not lived. And that is, I think, by far just the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. Because for 19 years, I just spent 19 years just hating myself and wanting to end my life for just the worst reasons. And it took, there's a reason I'm here talking to Clay and talking to 25,000 people on TikTok every day. It's because I'm alive, and the getting 25,000 people on TikTok would not have been possible if I had not lived. So I'd say that's my greatest accomplishment. Clay, do you have a greatest accomplishment?
That's a hard one. That's a hard one too, because it's
Yeah.
just
I've thought about that question. So
I
I
mean,
kind of had an answer ready for that.
recently my greatest accomplishment would be, and this is really cheesy and it's kind of stealing my sister's thunder, but becoming an uncle is one of them. Because with my disability, having kids, it's not out of the question, but it would be a very harsh reality. Um, so that's definitely one of them. Personally, though, oh geez, honestly, probably interviewing Rick Mercer is one of them, the Canadian icon. Again, you didn't know who he was before I interviewed him, but I briefed you on him. He
Yep.
was a political satirist, completely able-bodied and fully for the rights of people with disabilities, and that's definitely one of them. And the other one would be the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario, David Onley. I interviewed him in my first year, no, last year of high school. He has polio, and he was the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. That would be probably the top two. It's funny how they're
I
both interviews.
I would actually say your greatest accomplishment is starting this journey so that
Yeah,
you could do all that. Because I think I don't like you're not even close to done, right? Like
no,
you're just beginning, and I think the greatest accomplishment for you has to be the fact that you made the choice to actually do something and impact people's lives, not just talking to those two guys who are incredible guys, but it's you who is
yeah.
making this happen. I think that's, to me, looking at you, that's such an incredible accomplishment that it's just awesome to know you and to watch someone make
And
that
it was
choice to do it.
hard. I appreciate
Yeah,
that, by the way. That's
absolutely. I know how hard that is. Trust me. It's hard for each of us in our own way. And I got a question. Dylan, you are clearly an accomplished person, all going back to one very important choice you made. You're in the process of writing a book. Do you plan on writing more than one? I do. I just don't know exactly where that's going to go. Defy the Darkness is really my story, and it's going to be, it's my memoir, but it's also discussing all of the processes that I kind of have built throughout my life of overcoming, of like how I did it. But I really think I'm going to be writing more. And in some ways, I'll actually be writing less. Like I'm going to have, at some point, I'm not going to have the time to write all the books, but I will be a part of writing those books. I think what I want to do, one of the ideas that I had is collecting stories of my followers, and how they have overcome, and like people that come close to me and talk to me about how to overcome their adversity, and collecting those incredible stories from people who have been through so much, and making a book out of that. I think that's something that I want to do in some way. But there's definitely been ideas. There's always ideas up in here. I'm I'm finding more and more creativity the more I do this, which is just, I'm sure, Clay, you probably have this same kind of sense about you, is that as you do more, as you push deeper into this journey, like there's just this sense of creativity that you didn't know you had before. Um,
100%, 100%.
and that's, I mean, yeah, I'm absolutely going to write more than one book. I don't know, like I said, like, I'll tell you this, it's fucking hard to write a book. I'll tell you that. Especially one so in depth and so personal. So I think like eventually I'm going to write my own autobiography about everything that I've been through, kind of starting off of Defy the Darkness, but then ending with everything that I'm about to accomplish and do for people. Like, I'm absolutely gonna do more. So, yeah, that's the best answer I can give you right now. Is yes.
That would probably be a multi-year goal for me, is writing a book. I do want to
Yeah.
write a book. I think it would be cool.
Let me know if you want some help with it. I'd love to help you write your book.
That's an interesting name for a book from my dad. Chicken Soup for the Defiers. That's pretty neat. I like that.
When your first book is done, your story still won't be over. Write a second book based on feedback from the first. That's not a bad idea. Ideas. I love ideas. I've actually had someone approach me about making a book. I might do it. Do it. Just do it.
Your story in a nutshell is enough to write a book.
Absolutely.
Pronounced Ed 5 times? That's wild. I've never heard of that. That's interesting. And good for you for overcoming. I'm glad you made it through that, because that's insane.
Yeah.
And she said before too, sorry for all the comments, I talk a lot. Yeah. You should hang out with me and my dad. We will definitely talk you out of the room. I guarantee it.
Yeah, wait until you ask me a question in person. You can do anything you set your mind to it. God, these comments are hard. You can do anything you set your mind to. I want a signed copy of the book. The book's all right. Fair enough. Right. Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, of course. Let's get a couple more questions.
When your book is published, my mom, my stepdad, my dad, and me are all going to buy a copy of it.
Jeez. Oh, man.
We already said we'd buy 4 separate copies. Why not?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I will sign every single one of them and send them to you personally. I promise you that. Oh, I can talk and drink. Anyone understand? Under the table.
Under the table, I assume.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, man, a book. Your book would be pretty cool. It'd be very cool.
I think it would be, and then it's just like, not even to brag, I've done a lot of things that, a lot of it's through charities and things that people give me because of, I'm not going to say because of the disability, because it is, but it isn't. It's not a pity thing. It's a resource thing, right? I've been to like
purpose
sporting
thing,
events. I've been to, I think, 18 states. I've been to more states than I have provinces, even though there's less than 18 provinces in Canada. But
Right.
I've literally only gone to Quebec. I've never gone out of province apart from the states.
Yeah.
New York, Massachusetts, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, the most boring state. I'm sorry if anyone's from Kansas.
Nebraska is right underneath Kansas, but it's boring. It's flat.
Been to
and there's
South Dakota.
wheat.
I've seen the Mount Rushmore. Been to Arizona, Utah, Colorado.
Have you been to Wisconsin?
No.
Well, I know a guy. So whenever you want to visit, you let me know. We'll make it happen.
Michigan, yes. By the way, not Tennessee. That's
Tennessee and Michigan. I've been
actually. I may have touched it when I went to Florida as a little kid. Florida's another one I didn't mention.
Yeah.
Missouri, yes. St. Louis.
I had a question for you. It's a good question. Now I can't think of what I wanted to ask you. Oh, for your book, like if you were to write a book, what is it that you like? What would be the message that you want to put out, right? Like for me, I want to. This is actually interesting that we're talking about books, because I want to help people overcome their adversity. That's number one. But my secondary goal is to really help people express their stories. So it's kind of like I'm about to push myself into having a very deep and intimate relationship with a lot of people in terms of how they talk about their stories. So I have a feeling that I'm going to be really involved with a lot of books being written because of how I'm going to help people write them, or just write their stories. But I imagine that some of the people that I'm going to deal with are going to have some really deep stories that like need to be books for people. So like thinking about that, like what is it that you want to like show people? What is the message that you have for people that your book is going to tell them?
Well, I think coming back to that picture on Instagram showing people that disabled people aren't, there's nothing wrong with us. It's just on the outside. And also, a lot of what you're saying, like, get people to share their stories because, like, I don't want to sound too pompous, but I am more positive than most people. It's taken a lot of work, and I there are times where I'm negative. I'm not going to say I'm 100% positive. That's, I
Right.
think, impossible. But I look around on social media and I see like pity me and just people feeling sorry for themselves, and I don't want that to be a thing, whether you're disabled or not.
Right.
I'm sick of seeing people, and I don't mean I'm sick of it as in I'm mad at those people, but I'm sick of people reverting to negativity because it just brings
Yep.
you down. It doesn't help you. That there are times where being negative is a good thing. Like, cutting toxic people out of your life. It's okay to tell them something like, I'm sick of how you're treating me or whatever, and I need to take a break from you. Stuff like that. And also to show people that empathy. More people need empathy. You need to try to understand people before judging them. And I think it's hard because it's a human instinct to judge, but keeping it to a minimum, I find, has worked. Like, I judge people sometimes and I catch myself and I think, well, how do I know? Why don't you talk to that person instead of talking behind their back? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just
Right.
focus on positive.
Right.
But yeah, just
Absolutely.
teach people, there's nothing wrong with you for having a disability, empathy, and I think just like you say, sharing your story will help. I guarantee it.
Yep.
Like you said
Absolutely.
the other day in your video, accountability. You need to have accountability. You need to own when you screw up. It's not anybody
Yep.
else's fault, it's yours.
Yep.
Hands
Yeah,
down. Like, you need to fix your behaviors. It's not up to anybody else.
I was I was having that discussion. And that like that quote, like you having accountability every day is far more important than uh, planning for tomorrow. Like that quote came out of like nowhere. I was just having a conversation with someone. We were driving down to Madison, and I said that, and she looked at me and she's like, "You need to write that down." Like, yeah, I do. Like that just came out. It felt so right, and I just put it in my phone. I was like, I'm gonna make a post about that later. But yeah, I mean, like that's such an important thing that like people forget about is like you need to be accountable for the choices that you're making, and not just the choices that you're making. Like, do I have Burger King or do I eat at home? I'm talking about like these choices of making sure you look within and see the choices that you're making of like I hate myself, and saying that to yourself, you need to hold yourself accountable. Like, don't do that. Like calling yourself fat if you're overweight, like that's not necessary. You already know it, so change it. Like it's the accountability to do something about the problem that you have rather than negatively comment to yourself. I mean, think of it's like this is not a bad idea either. Of think of your life as content, right? Like think of your life as a video that you're posting on TikTok. What would your comments say to you, right? Imagine if you put your own comments underneath your own video. Would you react to them? Would you be upset by the negative comments that you put down there? Like you would hurt yourself, and you don't need to. You would hate if other people wrote those comments to you. Why do it? if you have that problem, one, find a solution, understand what you are dealing with, what you're facing, the perspective that you need to have. Research, like I tell this to people all the time, research people that have gone through the same thing and find out what they did. That's perspective. And then that's the knowledge that you need, right? Like I'm literally, I was so inspired this morning that I'm going to talk about a video that I'm going to put up in a couple days. I don't know when I'm going to have the, I guess, power to really speak this, but the video is going to be, I want people to choose to live, right? But even more importantly than choosing to live, I want people to learn. Because if you don't learn, you may have something that keeps you alive, but someday that's going to be gone, right? That person or that thing that was keeping you alive, those, like the children that were keeping you alive, are going to leave you, or they're going to die, right? Things are going to happen where the things that were keeping you alive are going to be gone. And if you don't learn to find a new thing, to find the next purpose that you have, that choice to live doesn't matter. You're going to choose the wrong thing, right? And that, like, it goes back to accountability. It goes back to like learning, and it all comes back to perspective. Like realistically, it all comes back to perspective. Is you have to look at everything else. You have to look outside of what you're thinking about. You have to talk to people. You have to read books. You have to listen to podcasts. You have to watch YouTube videos or TikTok videos. And you have to input the right perspectives to deal with the situations that you're facing. And that's just what, the last few days and the last few weeks have really just hammered this idea that I have, or that these ideas that I have of like, this is what I need to speak about, because people just are not taught these things, right? Like we go to school every day, and we struggle with math and science and biology and anatomy, and we learn all of these different things, but we are not taught choice. We are not taught accountability for our choice. We are not taught how to think. We are not taught what perspective is. We are not taught what empathy is. We are not taught what love is. Like, no shit. Like, I walk around and I ask people, what is the definition of love? And people don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem, right? Because then they jump into relationships that are supposed to be loving, and they're not, right? And so they're sitting there facing these problems that they can't even define, right? So, and then people don't have a clue, right? And like for me, I have the clue. Like I have such like you and I and people like Darren and Isaac and the people that I've talked to that have just been through so much. We are all so deep within that perspective of being able to look at other people and find the empathy and find the perspective and see what other people think and talk to people like you and me are talking right now. And we learn. And what is missing for so many other people is this idea that they need to learn instead of isolating themselves. And it's just, for me right now, that's incredibly profound. And that's my direction for the next probably few weeks or months, probably.
Well, and that's why I've always thought that psychology should not be an elective in high school. When you get to your first year of high school, you should have to learn psychology. Like my buddy Ben Finelli that I interviewed. I don't know if you watched that interview, Ben Finelli, but he's in psychology, and Ben was a junior hockey player, and at 16 he was going to make the NHL. Like there was almost no doubt about it. And one day in a game, he's a defenseman. He was going behind the net to get the puck, and a guy named Michael Ambis, who was known to be a violent player, skated full speed up the ice, jumped, and hit Ben from behind, head first into the glass. And Ben had 5 or 6 facial fractures. He had brain swelling, and he had a fractured skull. And he went into a coma. He lived came back and played hockey, but then it just wasn't happening. Like, he was able to play again, which doctors told him never, which to me is big in itself. And when he realized he wouldn't make the NHL, he started a project called Heroic Minds, and it focuses on fight or flight and learning how to fight. Don't run away from your problems. Take them head on. And like you say, accountability. Have accountability. Don't make excuses, because I used to do that all the time as a teenager. Oh, it was Brandon's fault. Oh, it was my mom's fault. Oh, it was my dad's fault. No, it's not. It was your fault. You're the one who did it.
Yep.
No one made you do anything. There wasn't a gun to your head. Pardon the pun, talking to you, but terrible.
I don't have a problem with it. That's funny. Was that planned, or did that just happen?
No, that just happened.
That just happened. Oh,
but it's
God,
true.
that's great.
I'm not even mad.
Gunpoint.
Just
right.
Focus on the issues.
Like, I had me at gunpoint, right? Like, that was my choice, and I needed to hold me accountable for that.
Exactly. And look at where you are now. Like,
exactly.
Well, even my girlfriend, she's been through so much. She has cerebral palsy. She dislocated her hip back in like grade 9 or 10. So she was 14 or 15 years old, had to have hip replacement surgery. Her father passed away in grade 11. Like, and she's so happy. Like, she has depression, yeah, but she doesn't let it define her, because at the end of the day, yeah, I have depression, but I have to manage it. It's not up to anybody else but me to tell myself that I'm okay.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with being upset or crying or anything. Just let it out. You got to just be accountable for whatever you're doing in life. And it's hard. It's not easy.
Right.
No one ever said it was easy.
Right. And that's definitely something I've talked about, is that, people ask me what to do. I help people like one-on-one, and they ask me what to do, and I'm like, this is what you have to do, right? Like, you're going to have to work. And they're like, that's not easy. And I'm like, I didn't say it was easy, but this is what you have to do. Like, this is going to be this, like, when you're overcoming depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, whatever it is, like, if you're overcoming like sexual trauma or trauma of any type, PTSD, all of it, it is the hardest thing you will ever do in your life. And that's why I say my greatest accomplishment is no joke, living, because it was literally 19 years of the hardest punishment you could ever go through. And I beat it. Like, I no shit beat it. Like, I am in this place of serenity, calmness. I had this conversation with Katie the other day, that I used to think constantly. I was constantly turned on in this just constant chatter of negative self-talk, always focusing on my problems, just all of it. And today it's nothing, right? Like, when I'm quiet, when I'm sitting there, if I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do next, I'm not thinking, right? I'm not consciously putting anything in my mind that doesn't need to be there. And that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. But it was 26, it's been 26 years of work, right? And it's like, Father's Day is coming up, and to me, like, 10 years ago, Father's Day would have crippled me. Yeah. Even this time, right? Like, it's next weekend. Someone told me, it was like, like, I heard about it like 2 days ago. Someone was like, oh yeah, it's Father's Day weekend coming up. And 10 years ago, I would have known a month in advance, and I'd be counting down the days for Father's Day, thinking about what am I going to do on Father's Day to keep myself alive in some way, right? Like, and I mean, it's crazy. Like, I don't care, right? Like, it's Father's Day. Like, I don't have a dad. I don't have to worry about it. Like, I don't have to get a fucking present for anybody. Like, and as morbid as that sounds, like, I don't, but it's it's not this doomsday for me anymore. Like the day he died isn't a doomsday anymore. It's a memorial for me. It's this, Father's Day for me is now for me. Like I am a stepdad, which makes me, that day is for me now. It's not going to destroy me. Whereas the day my dad died, which is August 12th, and that's coming up, right? Like that's never going to leave my mind. I'm always going to remember that date, but it's a date of memorial for me in which it reminds me, that date reminds me exactly why I'm here and where I'm going. And that is just so powerful for me, or so powerful for me that it's like, it ignites me. Like when I realize like August 12th, I'm probably going to be more inspired than any other day of my life. It's just, I am here in this moment doing stuff that is just absolutely so incredibly important for other people. And that day is going to be, I'm going to express myself, and I'm going to show people exactly what is necessary every single day, and it's going to be incredible. Like nothing destroys me anymore. No one out there, no thing, no day, nothing can destroy me. And that is why, like, my company is called Invictus Development Group, because Invictus in Latin means unconquerable. No one can fucking conquer me. And I love it. I fucking love it.
Like you said, it took almost 20 years to get to that point, but
yes.
People are like, well, it's so hard. Yeah, life is hard. If life was easy, it would be boring. It would be boring. You just get what you want no matter where you were or what you were doing. And that's just, no. You learn so much more from shitty things than you do from the good ones. I will always believe that. I used to go home every day in high school and just cry. Oh, I'm disabled. Fuck this. Well, no. Just because you're disabled doesn't mean you can't do anything. And I literally thought that for a few years. Like, my mom knew I was depressed. I never told her. I didn't have to tell her. She's my mom. So she was like, I told her a few years ago, I was like, I like went to my room and just pitied myself, right? She goes, yeah. I go, how? She goes, Clayton, I'm your mother. We know these things. Yeah, I guess so. And it's just now, like even 2 months ago, I got really mad at Call of Duty. And this is a weird example, but my dad looked at me after. He goes, why are you getting so mad? He goes, I was in your shoes when I was younger. He goes, you're not going to do anything with that anger. He goes, you're just going to hurt yourself and lose friends because they don't want to be around the guy that's snapping every 5 minutes, right? And ever since then, I haven't got mad at anything since.
Mm-hmm.
He just told me, you know what? I used to get that mad, and it's not worth it. I'm telling you right now, and it's stuck. And we talked about you and how you're in that place where it's like he doesn't get mad. He just calm, cool as a cucumber, man. It's all you got to do.
That's perspective, right? Like, and some people would get mad at their dads for saying that to them, right? Like, and some people would get mad at people for telling them that, right? Like, that's what really is crazy to me, is that whether that's an insecurity or it's like you just don't want to be told that you're wrong, whatever that is that's the thing that you need to get over, because what your dad told you is perfectly acceptable and good knowledge that has helped you, right? That's perspective. You gained perspective in that moment, and you were like, hey, I'm not going to do anything with that, right? And there was a point somewhere in time that I learned that as well, and it got me to this point, but only because I was open to it, and only because you were open to it were you able to learn from it. So many people out there are just not open to it. And I don't force people. Like, I've got 25,000 people following me. I don't force a single person to do what I tell them to do. I know it will work, but they're not going to do it unless they want to do it. And I'm not going to force them to do things.
No, definitely not.
So, Clay, we got 20 seconds left. I think they only do 60 minutes. So thanks for coming on. It was great talking to you. We'll have to do this again. Maybe you're next.
Yeah.
With the last 10 seconds, go ahead and say whatever you need to say.
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll be back soon for sure.
Thanks, everyone.